It's very important chapter we all have discussed. So this few points before we end this chapter, which we have to very much remember. And this is very important. We have seen the 14th verse and here 22nd verse also, where the conclusion is given. And we have seen the 14th verse, the conclusion is given. Very important to understand. Tasmad ekena manasa. So this is actually what Krishna is also telling. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha. So here also ekena manasa and thus vyavasayatmika buddhir. So vyavasayatmika buddhi is one pointed buddhi. So ekena manasa bhagavan satvatam pati. Now many people have little wrong understanding about this verse. They try to use it to say that okay, you should have one pointed attention in you achieving your goal, make a target and try to achieve it, you'll able to get it. Now, this verse is not talking about it. We'll clarify, because we should be very clear about what Krishna is telling and how it is connected to Bhagavatam. And what Prabhupada is telling is we should have faith. Faith means what? The trust in something sublime. What does that mean? Means that we have highest possible goal. And it said that if you go to this goal without deviation, that itself is happiness. What Krishna is trying to help us to understand in these verses. And he's also telling something sublime means which is beyond material, which is eternal and unchangeable. Now, this chapter is telling that this is the only goal we should have. That's all. If we have anything faith in anything material we are trying, and which something material, that means we are preparing for a tragedy. Our life will be a tragedy. No, parabhavas tavad abodha jate yavanna jignasa atma tattva. If you don't try to understand for atma tattva, no, dharmasya hi apavargasya nartho rataya purute nartasya dharmaikantasya kama. So it is so clear. This apavarga is bhakti only. Krishna is still, and is still we have to try to understand that tattvataha. So if we are not trying to understand the truth, if that is not the goal, we are preparing for a tragedy, and we are preparing for a defeat, and ultimately everybody is going to and hopelessly get defeated. Now one may think one is going to be winner when he's young and when he's foolish. But slowly once he gets married and have 1 to 3 children, then he'll understand that. Now why this chapter? It's telling fix your goal on something sublime, and only that will make us happy. Because we have goals which are ranged in this material world, where all these people say, you set your goal, try to meditate on the goal, achieve the goal, and now vyavasayatmika buddhir, have that goal, remember the goal, write the goal. No. Vyavasayatmika buddhi is only one goal, that is Krishna only. If you have any other goal in this world to achieve, to get married, to have children, to have go to America, to have this, to have that, any other goal other than achieving Krishna, it is a tragedy. Because this is going to, I will tell the reason. But what Krishna is telling, if you have highest possible goal, then our intelligence is one. Otherwise, we'll be a split personality. Goals are related to material nature, then they're small, they are going to be fragmented, and then our intelligence will become many branched. Now people, they say that like if something happens to, we have many goals and many things are happening, and we are connected to many things, and something happens to our goal, or something happens to, because we have many roles to play, we are connected to many people, and something happens to the person or the item or our goal, immediately it is almost like a death only for the person, because he loses some part of him. This is actually what is happening to Arjuna also. When he's losing his family members, he started feeling that he's only losing himself. And Krishna is telling, oh, that is the mistake. Krishna is telling, the problem is not that you kill them. The problem is your false conception because you are identifying wrongly. That is what. So this whole chapter is trying to explain that problem. Is our false conceptions, and then when one is in false conception, and basically it is a consequence of having no ultimate goal. That's why there are false. If you have ultimate goal, then if we don't have any permanent goal, then the whole thing is split. Sukha, dukha, I like, I don't like. It's all simple life only. Because in this world, if we want sukha, we should be ready to take dukha also. Because it is not possible just to get sukha. That's what this. It's kamasana indriya priti. Labho jivat. Jivasya tattva jignasa. That's all. Just for tattva jignasa. I like, I don't like is not a criteria. If you say I want only sukha, it is not possible because dukha is another side of coin. To the degree we want sukha, we'll get it. This is what kamasya indriya priti. Labho jivete avata. We should not be caring about sukha dukkha, jivasya tattva jignasa. And Krishna says that we can have permanent goal, but the prerequisite but for that is we should have a complete different conception of life. That is a different intelligence. We should not have split intelligence. Okay, they Stephen Covey, they quote this: different roles, different caps. I am a son, I am a daughter, I am a boss, I am a friend, I am a devotee, I am this, I am that. So every role you should have some goal and try to achieve the goal. It is complete distortion of the intelligence. No, only one goal, Krishna, and all other roles will properly fit in that. How? Because I want to go back home, back to God. That means I have to practice bhakti. To practice bhakti, I should have good family environment so that I can chant properly. So that for that, what I'll do, I'll try to be in good relation with all the family members. I should take care of my responsibilities properly so that my children and my family or my boss or my friends and all, everybody will be in favor of my practice of Krishna consciousness. So I'll have all my nice relationship. I'll be working and doing my things properly. Everything I will do properly because it is all favorable for my Krishna consciousness. So goal is one, and everything will fit properly. So that is the main understanding. So here tasmat ekena manasah. We should have only one goal in life. This whole chapter, that is bhakti, and the reason why we are here is because of we are indifferent to Krishna. Now again we do bhakti, become different, then we'll be able to achieve everything. So this is a very important understanding what this it is. If you have any other goal in life, it's a tragedy. Now when Krishna is saying that we will be able to fulfill all relationship properly if you have Krishna as the goal. If because if you have Krishna as goal, even if you lose everything, will not lose anything. But if you get everything but will not be happy, because happiness is within, it's not outside. This is our anarthas. Yeah, they lead us to different our anarthas. The question is our anarthas will lead us to, it is the anarthas, no, they are pulling us, but our faith should be clear. We should have our ultimate goal very clear. We should not have faith in any of these things. Okay, I want to have a big car, but I should know that even if the car comes, it will not satisfy my heart because it is not Krishna. Only Krishna can satisfy my heart. This may be there, it is only just satisfaction of my ego. I can show to my neighbors and friends and show that how great I am, how smart I am, how witty I am, so that I can make out things like that and all. It's our false ego only. Our apartment, our car, our dress, it's all our indication of just to show. But that is not going to satisfy the heart. Our satisfaction is only when we sit sincerely, chant peacefully, having complete faith that this is what will work, and peacefully sit and read and hear Bhagavatam. That's all. Any other thing, it's a tragedy. Our different goals, yeah, our different goals leads to anarthas also. Yes, Kalan. Yeah, that is a nice point. Now, if we have, if I remember I am servant of God, then everything will come to me. That is what we should constantly practice. Any other thing, it's that is, see, when Abhimanyu died, Arjuna was so much affected, but it does not change his conception that I am servant of God. So he continued serving Krishna, even though he was affected. But if you see Dronacharya, when his son died, he stopped fighting. He just sat and went into trance, and the Shudamna comes and kills him. Same situation. Arjuna's son died, Dronacharya's son died. But Arjuna's intelligence was fixed. He knows that I am servant of Krishna. No matter my son died, I get a son, or my son dies also, I have to continue serving Krishna. But it was not for Dronacharya. That is what is split intelligence. Yeah, Shyam Mukund Pro is saying, while working in office, there is peer pressure. So I'm also thinking of promo sometimes. But my primary and main goal is to attend. Yeah, we know we should have the faith that this is not going to make me really happy. But because we are in this world, we are a little conditioned. We will do certain things. So we may do like that. But that is not the thing that is going to really make me happy. That we should be clear also. Even though we may aspire for some things because of our anartha's conditioning, but ultimately in the heart, that is not our faith. Even if we get promotion, even if we don't get promotion, it does not change our situation as servant of Krishna. And my happiness is only in relation with Krishna. Our happiness is in relationship, but relationship in the material world, any of the thing is not Satchitananda, and we are Satchitananda. It cannot give temporary thing, cannot give permanent happiness. If I don't have that as the goal, then any other goal is a tragedy. And we should be knowing, okay, I may have this desire, but I know it is not going to be make much difference. Even if we get promotion also, it's some satisfaction of ego. It's not going to really satisfy that. Goal is not clear. Like, no, I'll just, 1 minute, I'll just tell a small story. I'll not take much. There was one sannyasi, he wanted to build a Radha Krishna temple. So he was thinking, yes, we should make, and it will benefit so many, and everybody will get benefited. And then he was trying to get donations and all, but somehow, unfortunately, was not getting much donations. So then he prayed to the Lord that, my dear Lord, do something, do something, give me some mystic power so that I can impress people and get donation. I can make a temple for you. And he was praying. At last, he got a voice. Okay, I am giving you boon that whomever whomever you want, you can send them back to spiritual world. So that is a benediction you get. And also he felt like there was some mystical smile of Lord also. Then he went to the people, and he was so happy. Now I can send anybody to spiritual world. And he goes to the middle of the market and he started shouting, okay, I have this benediction. Whoever want, I can send them to spiritual world. Please come, please come. And he was in the market shouting loudly. Nobody paid any attention. And then he thought, okay, let me personally meet. So he met one newly married couple. He said, I can send both of you to spiritual world now if you want. They said, we just married and we have so many other things to do. We are not yet ready. If you want some donation, take and get lost. And then he was going to everybody. Everybody was telling, if you want money, you take, or don't disturb us. And nobody was interested, and some people just neglected. And then he was searching, and at last he found one person who was about to die, and he was having so much of his property. He said, okay, you give all the property to me, I'll send you to spiritual world. He said, you can take my property, but make sure that I'll live for 1 more year, but I don't want to go to anybody. And then he was so unhappy, and he said, nobody is interested. Then at last again he prayed to the Lord, and then Lord appeared. He said, my dear Lord, what type of benediction you gave me? No, nobody is interested to come to spiritual world. Everybody is here only. I know, what is this benediction? Lord said, okay, let it be. Don't worry. You come back. Let them be here. I said, no, how can I come, Lord? I should make a Radha Krishna temple here. I cannot come. So nobody want to go. That means this Tasmad Ekena, it is not so easy. We have to aspire for it, and we should understand. That's why we have to, they say you have to meditate on the goal, read. This is actually every day we are doing. the second work with end. Sorry, start with end in mind. This is what the Stephen Covey says. But this is also Vyavasayatmaka of the only. We are always working with end in mind. End is what? To achieve Krishna Prem and every activity. And he says that every day 1 hour we are sitting. Of course, now we are sitting 2 hours to just meditate on our goal. That is Krishna Prem only. Every day we are reminding ourselves this is the end. My end is this. That goal is we are keeping and we are doing it. So here, this is what is told, that we are trying to work on this goal. That is even the verse number 22 also. It's the same thing. It is telling that uh, Bhaktim Paramaya Muda Vasudeve Bhagavati Ato Vai Kavayo Nityam. So this is what we have to aspire for. Yeah. So we should keep our goal very clear. Now, this is the conclusion. This is the answer for the first two questions from verse number 6 to 29. Sutta Goswami is answering first two questions. Essence of all scriptures, what satisfies the heart. So this is actually what we all need. We want to satisfy, and this is what is the conclusion. Just bhakti, that's all, nothing else. Just keep that as the goal. We opposite to bhakti is we are neglecting Lord and we are in ignorance. Now the positive is again we start being conscious about Lord and start performing bhakti to Him. That's all. So the shloka is the conclusion he comes is Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Matha, Vasudeva para Yoga, Vasudeva para Kriya, Vasudeva param Jnanam, Vasudeva param Tapa, Vasudeva paro Dharmo, Vasudeva paragati. In the revealed scriptures, the ultimate object of knowledge is Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing sacrifice is to please Him. Yoga is for realizing Him. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by Him only. He is the supreme knowledge. All severe austerities are performed to know Him. Religion, dharma is rendering loving service unto Him. He is the supreme goal of life. That's Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Now, Prabhupada is going to explain all the different words in the what is Vasudeva. Explain 1 minute. So Prabhupada is trying to explain all the words, all the explanation. In the literature is the same objective, establish acting according to the relation and ultimately reviving our lost loving service onto it. This is the only thing. Vedic literature, the question was asked, the fruit is already fallen, so still it is there. Vedas are, whenever you go, this, if you go to understand the essence of Vedas, Bhagavad will always, because tree, it can have many fruits. And this ripened fruit of Bhagavatam, it always comes from the Vedas. Whenever you go to them, this fruit will always come. If you want the essence of all the scriptures, you will get Bhagavatam fruit only. And ultimately, that is the sum and substance of Vedas. And Bhagavad Gita, the same theory is confirmed by the Lord in His own words. The ultimate purpose of Vedas is to know all the revealed scriptures are prepared by the Lord through His incarnation in the body of Srila Vyasadeva, just to remind the fallen soul conditioned by fallen souls conditioned by material nature of Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. So this is what Vyasadeva is. He wants to remind us about Krishna. No demigod can award freedom from material bondage. That is the verdict of all Vedic literature. Impersonalists who have no information of the personality of Godhead minimize the omnipotency of the Supreme Lord and put Him on equal footing with all other living beings. And for this act, such impersonalists get freedom from material bondage only with great difficulty. They can surrender unto Him only after many, many births in the culture of transcendental knowledge. So this is, we should not say everything is one. No demigod, nothing Shiva, Brahma, we cannot equate like that. Now, one may argue that the way now, okay, we will read the purport and this discuss. One may argue that the Vedic activities are based on sacrificial ceremonies. That is true, but all such sacrifices are also meant for realizing the truth about Vasudeva only. Another name of Vasudeva is Yajna, sacrifice. Yajno by Vishnu. And in Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that all sacrifices and all activities are to be conducted for the satisfaction of Yajna or Vishnu, the personality of God. This is the case also with the yoga system. Yoga means to get in touch with the Supreme Lord. The process, however, includes several bodily features such as asana, dhyana, pranayama, and meditation, and all of them are meant for concentrating upon the localized aspect of Vasudeva represented as Paramatma. Paramatma realization is but partial realization of Vasudeva, and if one is successful in that attempt, one realizes Vasudeva in full. But by ill luck, most yogis are stranded by the powers of mysticism achieved through the bodily processes. Ill-fated yogis are given a chance in the next birth to being placed in the families of good learned brahmanas or in the families of rich merchants in order to execute the unfinished task of Vasudeva realization. If such fortunate brahmanas and sons of rich men properly utilize the chance, they can easily realize Vasudeva by good association and with association with saintly persons. Unfortunately, such preferred persons are captivated again by material wealth and honor, and they practically forget aim of life. Aim of life is only one, Vasudev. That is what Ekena. This is also so for the culture of knowledge, according to Bhagavad Gita. So Yajna is for the Vasudev, Yoga is for Vasudev, knowledge is for Vasudev. Here it is. According to Bhagavad Gita, there are 18 items in cultivating knowledge. Amanitnamadam. By such culture of knowledge, one becomes gradually prideless. Amanitnamadam vitvam ahimsa shantirajam. Devoid of vanity, non-violence, forbearing, simple, devoted to the great spiritual master and self-control. By culture of knowledge, one becomes unattached to earth and home and becomes conscious of the miseries due to death, birth, old age, and disease. And all culture of knowledge culminates in devotional service to the personality of God, Vasudeva. Therefore, Vasudeva is ultimate in culturing all different branches of knowledge. Culture of knowledge leading one to the transcendental pain of meeting Vasudeva is real knowledge. Physical knowledge in its various branches is condemned in Bhagavad Gita as ajnana or opposite to real knowledge. The ultimate aim of physical knowledge is to satisfy the senses, which means prolongation of the term of material existence and thereby continuance of threefold miseries. So prolonging the miserable life of mental existence is nuisance. But the same physical knowledge leading to the way of spiritual understanding helps one to end the miserable life of physical existence and to begin the life of spiritual existence on the plane of Vasudeva. And then about tapasya. The same applies to all kinds of austerities. Tapasya means voluntary acceptance of bodily pain to achieve something higher end of life. So tapasya with body, with words, and with mind. Ravana and Hiranyakashipu underwent a severe type of bodily torture to achieve end of sense gratification. Sometimes modern politicians also undergo severe type of austerities to achieve some political end. This is not actual tapasya. One should accept voluntarily bodily inconvenience for the sake of knowing Vasudeva, because that is the way of real austerities. Otherwise, all forms of austerities are classified as mode of passion and ignorance. Passion and ignorance end the miseries of life, cannot end the miseries of life. Only the mode of goodness can mitigate the threefold miseries of life. Vasudeva and Devaki, the so-called father and mother of Lord Krishna, underwent penance to get Vasudeva as their son. Lord Sri Krishna is the father of all living beings. Therefore, he is the original living being of all other living beings. He is the original eternal enjoyer among all other enjoyers. Therefore, no one can be his begetting father, as the ignorant may think. Lord Sri Krishna agreed to become the son of Vasudeva and Devaki upon being pleased with their severe austerities. Therefore, if any austerities have to be done, they must be done to achieve the end of knowledge, Vasudeva. This is another point Prabhupada is telling. You do any austerities, If the purpose is not to please Krishna, not to achieve Krishna, it's all waste. Shrama eva kevalam. Vasudeva is the original personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. As explained before, the personality of Godhead expands himself by innumerable forms. Such expansions of form is made possible by his various energies. His energies are manifest multifarious, and his internal energy are superior and external energy inferior in quality. They are explained in Bhagavad Gita 7.4 to 6 as the para and apara prakrtis. So, his expansions of various forms which take place via the internal energy are superior forms, whereas the expansions which takes via the external energies are inferior forms. The living entities are also his expansions. The living entities who expand by his internal potency are eternally liberated persons, whereas those who are expanded in terms of the material energies are eternally conditioned souls. Therefore, all culture of knowledge, austerity, sacrifice, and activity should be aimed at changing the quality of the influence that is acting upon us. For the present, we are all being controlled by the external energy of the Lord, and just to change the quality of the influence, we must endeavor to cultivate spiritual energy. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that those who are Mahatmas are those whose minds have been so broadened as to be engaged in the service of Lord Krishna, are under the influence of internal potency, and the effect is that such broad-minded living beings are constantly engaged in the service of the Lord without deviation. That should be the aim of life, and that is the verdict of all Vedic literatures. No one should bother himself with fruitive activities or dry speculations about transcendental knowledge. Everyone should at once engage himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Nor should one worship different demigods who work as the different hands of the Lord for creation, maintenance, or destruction of material world. So, what basically Prabhupada is trying to do is trying to summarize what all we have discussed in all this chapter. So, he's telling, no, Vasudeva should be the aim of life, nothing else, and no demigods also. There are innumerable powerful demigods who look over the external management of material world. They are all they are all different assisting hands of the Lord. Even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma are included in the list of demigods, but Lord Vishnu or Vasudeva is always transcendentally situated. Even though he accepts the quality of goodness of material world, he is still transcendental to all the material modes. The following examples will clear that matter more explicitly. In the prison house, there are prisoners and the managers of the prison house. Both the managers and the prisoners are bound by the laws of king. But even though the king sometimes come to the prison, he is not bound by the laws of the prison house. The king is therefore always transcendental to the laws of prison house, as Lord is transcendental to the law of material world. So this is quite clear. And so here in this verses, where this another section starts, where Suta Goswami is answering the fourth question about Lord's Purusha Avataras Leela, Purusha Avatara Leela, that is answered here. And 34th, he will answer about third question. So he's answering the first. Why living entity is entangled? This is, and then why Krishna? Because by telling about Purusha Avataras, this creation, it is telling that living entity is entangled. And then he can tell the reason of Krishna's appearing in the womb of Devaki and Sanna was there, because he want to free the living entities who are entangled. So that's why he is giving the fourth answer first. स ये वेदं ससृजग्रे भगवान् आत्ममायया सदसद्रूपया चासौ Gunamaya Vibhuhu. In the beginning of material creation, the absolute personality of God, Vasudeva, in his transcendental position, created the energies of cause and effect by his own internal energy. So now he changed the subject because it's a different answer. So till now he has concluded, Vasudeva, Bhagavati, Vasudeva, you have to You have to just Vasdeva Paramaka, Vasdeva Param Yoga, Vasdeva Param Jnana. That is a conclusion. That's all. Anything you are doing, your knowledge, your ashtratis, your tapasya, your yajna, your yoga, only one thing. Vyavasayatmika buddhir, ekeha kurunandana. You know, tasmad ekena manasa, Bhagavan Sattva-tampati. So this is what is the conclusion. Any discussions still now on this point? It's clear. Okay. In the beginning of material creation, the absolute personality of God was there in his transcendental position, created the energies of cause and effect by his own internal energy. Purport. The position of Lord is always transcendental because the causal and effectual energies required for the creation of material world are also created by him. He is unaffected, therefore, by the qualities of material modes. His existence, form, activities, and paraphernalia all existed before the material creation. He is all spiritual and has nothing to do with the qualities of material world, which are qualitatively distinct from the spiritual qualities of the Lord. For whatever is there is all material, whatever Lord, it's all spiritual. It's completely different from what we are. त्वया विलसितेषु गुणेषु गुणवानिव अन्तः प्रविष्ट आभाति Vijnana Vijrumbitaha. After creating the material substance, the Lord Vasudeva expands himself and enters into it. So first he created, then he is expanding and entering into it. And although he is within the material mode of nature and appears to be one of the created being, he is always fully enlightened in his transcendental position. So here different aspects. One is as a Karanadakshay Vishnu is creating all these energies. As Garbhodakshay Vishnu is creating the planetary system. Means from him all these things within this creation, within this universe, all the things are coming from Garbhodaksha. Now he is expanding and entering into it as Garbhodakshay Vishnu and entering it as Kshirodakshay Vishnu also. The living entities are separated part and parcels of the Lord, and the conditioned living entities who are unfit for the spiritual kingdom are stubborn within the material world to enjoy matter to the fullest extent. As Paramatma, an eternal friend of living entities, the Lord, by one of his plenary portions, accompanies the living entities to guide them in their material enjoyment and to become witness to all activities. Upadrishta Anumanta. So this expansion is Paramatma expansion. He's going with all the living entities. While the living entity enjoy the material conditions, the Lord maintains his transcendental positions without being affected by material atmosphere. In the Vedic literatures, it is said that there are two birds in one tree. One of them is eating the fruits of the tree, while other is witnessing the action. The witness is the Lord, and the fruit eater is the living entity. The fruit eater, living entity, has forgotten his real identity and is overwhelmed in the fruitive activities of material conditions. But the Lord, Paramatma, is always full in transcendental knowledge. That is the difference between the super soul and the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul, the living entity, is controlled by the laws of nature, while the Paramatma or the super soul is controlled by material energy. So this fruit is always eaten. If you see in the garden of Eden garden, the fruit is eaten by the fruit is eaten there also, and now also all the living entities are eating the fruits of their labor. That is the cause of entanglement. The fruit is still eaten by all living entities, and we are taking that fruit and we are ripening the fruits and enjoying it, and that's the cause of entanglement. The question is Mula Sankarshan expands himself into Kshirodaksha Vishnu just to give chance for Jivatma who has misused their free will. Is it so? Expands himself into Kshirodaksha Vishnu. Yes, Sankarshan expands as Kshirodaksha Vishnu. I will just refer Mataji. I am not. It expands is Karadaksha Vishnu, but Kshirodaksha Vishnu is expansion from Garbhodaksha Vishnu. But of course, there are some details. What Prabhupada gave, what Prabhupada did is he gave he gave some indications. I will clarify this. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm asking like this Mool Sankarshan expand just for the material creation purpose only, na? For us to give as a Mahavishnu.
You don't have any other purpose. This is only purpose. They are all
So
Purusha
for that,
avatars.
okay. So this is for the Jivatma only to give them chance to fulfill their desire.
Yes.
Okay. In Vaikunthas, we don't have this Mahavishnu, na, Prabhuji?
No Paramatma also. There is no Paramatma. Paramatma directly Lord is in front of them. So they don't need Paramatma.
Mahavishnu is Karuna Daksha Vishnu, na, Prabhuji, in material creation.
Yeah,
First,
correct.
then comes Garva Daksha Vishnu, then Shiro Daksha Vishnu.
Yeah. Their form is also if where Lord is lying on Anantasesh but no Lakshmi is there, he is Karanadaksha Vishnu or Mahavishnu. Lakshmi at the lotus feet, the Lord is lying, and Lakshmi at the lotus feet, that is Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And Lakshmi Narayana standing together, that is Kshirodaksha Vishnu.
Okay. Because Prabhuji, I was hearing this Nityanand Todashi lecture, na, so he was explaining the position of Balram. This is Balram only, na, Mool Sankarshan. So I just want to know that this is only his merciful nature that he expand himself just for us to give us chance because we want to enjoy separate from him. So in that way, I was asking.
So this is yes.
His mercy only that he is giving us chance because we want to enjoy separate from him. So he is creating this all
providing the
everything.
facilities.
Yes, please.
The next yata hi avahito vahnir darvush ekasva yonishu nanveshu bhvati vishvatma bhuteshu chatata puman. The Lord as super soul pervades all things just as fire permeates wood, and so he appears to be of many varieties, though he is the absolute one without a second. Lord Vasudev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by one of his plenary parts, expands himself all over the material world, and his existence can be perceived even within the atomic energy. So, this is a Paramatma feature. Previous sloka is Garbhodaksha feature is expanding, but Prabhupada purport he is telling is with all living entities. That is also is telling about Paramatma. Now, this shloka is indicating about Paramatma. Matter, antimatter, proton, neutrons. In all these, one can perceive the manifestation of Paramatma feature of the Lord by proper spiritual culture. As firewood, fire can be manifested, or as butter can be churned out of milk, so also the presence of Lord as Paramatma can be felt in the process of legitimate hearing and chanting of the transcendental subjects, which are especially treated in Vedic literatures like the Upanishads and the Vedanta. Srimad Bhagavatam is the bona fide explanation of these Vedic literatures. The Lord can be realized through the oral reception of the transcendental message, and that is the only way to experience the transcendental subjects. As fire is kindled from wood by another fire, the divine consciousness of man can similarly be kindled by another divine grace. This divine grace, the spiritual master can kindle the spiritual fire from the wooden like living entity by imparting proper spiritual messages injected through the receptive ear. Therefore, one is required to approach the proper spiritual master with respect receptive ears only, and thus divine existence is gradually realized. The difference between animality and humanity lies in this process only. A human being can hear properly, whereas animal cannot. So this is very and just to remind, first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is Adhikara Tattva. What is that Adhikar? Adhikara to hear Bhagavatam. So this whole canto is telling three things. First is how Bhagavatam is born. Second is what is Adhikara Tattva. What is the qualification for us to hear and understand Bhagavatam. Question is, matter is dead, it becomes conscious due to presence of soul only, and it is soul and becomes active in the presence of Paramatma. Paramatma gives the energy in the matter also. Matter is dead. When the soul enters, it becomes conscious, and also, yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, so like in everything Paramatma enters. So is it this that the soul becomes active because of Paramatma only? Without Paramatma, soul cannot do anything. Is it, Prabhuji?
No, soul is also active, but within the matter also there is certain energy. That energy is Paramatma's energy. Any matter,
like
there is.
without Paramatma, soul cannot go anywhere.
No, soul itself is also having certain energies, but it cannot have so much. Means I have certain energy as a soul. That's why I'm able to. Soul is also given some energies, but how it functions we don't know. But Paramatma is giving energy for the matter. Soul has energy.
No, is like Prabhuji says कि everything when like प्रकृति बनी थी तब सब कुछ जब परमात्मा एंटर करे तभी मतलब एक्टिव हुआ ना सारा कुछ प्रभु जी जब क्रिएशन
एक्टिव ऐसा होता है माता जी, ऐसा नहीं कि आत्मा को कुछ शक्ति नहीं है, आत्मा का खुद का भी शक्ति होता है, क्योंकि भगवान ने इसलिए हम जो ये प्रकृति को इसमें कुछ बदलावट ला सकते हैं, क्योंकि आत्मा के अंदर भी शक्ति है. We have the इच्छा शक्ति, the desire is there in the living entity. So the desire is actually a certain type of energy. Ichha Shakti is also a living entity, also some desire. That's why it is able to do something. And of course, Upadrisha Anumanta, sanctioned by the Lord, but still there is some energy, very slight energy of desiring. That's why we are independent. Otherwise, if everything is Lord, then there is no question of independence to us. If He is only giving, He is only taking. He gives some independence, based on that we act.
so
We have
yes Prabhuji, yes, you continue Prabhuji.
Sanctioned by the Lord only, but still we have some little energy, Ichha Shakti.
Okay, so Paramatma is accompanying us just to give us a chance that we can turn to Him. Is it this, Prabhuji? Why he is accompanying us, Prabhuji? Why he is accompanying us? Just so that we can turn back when we turn back to Him.
Krishna Lord is accompanying us so that we will be able to one day we will get one desire, because he only has to fulfill the desires in this world. If we want to enjoy, he has to he has to get things done, because any activity 5 things are needed. One of the 5 aspects is our desire also, and Lord sanction also, second thing. Other things are also there. But in this, what Lord is saying is, okay, whatever desire we have, he's trying to fulfill them based on our qualification and all. Sometimes we desire that we want to go back to him, that also he will facilitate. So he's only a sanctioner, and he is overseer. That is the job of Paramatma. It is not that he's trying to help us in going right direction also. He always prompts. Maybe this you take, hear from devotees, wake up early morning. So some prompting is coming, that is done by Paramatma. Prithviraj is asking, soul cannot do anything independently by its own as long it stays in the middle world. Independently means it's 5 karanas of any activity. One of the karana is the soul's desire. So that is also some energy. All things are there. If I don't desire, it will not happen. So that desire is also one sort of energy that is given to the living entity. That's why it is performing. In the spiritual world, the same thing. There also we desire to do something, and everything is done by the energy there. But there is Ichha Shakti in a living entity, which is the freedom that Krishna gave to the living entity, where he can desire something. So it has that much energy is there for us. We can desire, which is not there in matter. And Lord Paramatma is only overseer and sanctioner, and he also prompts us to go in right direction. That is another job he does. Otherwise, he is not interfering our free will. He gives indication, maybe this is right, you can try, you know, and this is, he becomes happy if you do right things. Okay, so we are happily completing our chapter 2. The super soul enters into the body of created beings who are influenced the mode of material nature and causes them to enjoy the effects of these modes by subtle mind. So this is what the super soul is doing. Is entering and who are influenced modes and material nature and cause them to enjoy the effects of modes by subtle mind. So super soul helps. There are 84 lakh species of living means beginning from the highest intellectual being Brahma down to the insignificant ant, and all of them are enjoying the material world according to the desires of the settled mind and gross material body. The gross material body is based on the conditions of the settled mind, and the senses are created according to the desire of living beings. So now what is my external body is basically what it is showing. My external body is my form of my internal body. Based on my subtle body, my gross body is formed. If my subtle body is like of a demigod, I'll get a body, external body of a demigod. My subtle body of an animal, I get a body of animal. So we can know what will be my next body just knowing our subtle body now. If my consciousness is of a demigod or a devotee, if my consciousness is of a devotee, then I'll be in spiritual world. So it is very simple. What is my next birth? It's not very mystical to know what will be my next work. Material nature facilitates that if somebody is so much into eating, he likes so much eating, but if he eat in a human body, people will say, "Arey, itna, so much greedy fellow, how much is eating?" And no, then what material nature does, it will give a body of an elephant. Whole day you eat and nobody will comment an elephant that you are so fat, because the elephant can eat, because he has a desire to eat. The material nature facilitates. If somebody likes to sleep, material nature facilitates. Okay, take a polar bear or a tortoise, you can sleep for 3 months, 6 months, nobody will bother you, and you'll not get health issues also. So material nature basically what it is doing, it is facilitating the living entity to fulfill the desire it is wanting. It is basically our gross body is what is our subtle body. If my subtle body is sinful and all, the external form of body is also very deformed and all these things come like that. So it is only, so Paramatma as the Lord as Paramatma helps the living being to get material happiness, because a living entity being in helpless in all respects is obtaining what he desires. So this is the only energy we have, desire. And everything is sanctioned by Lord. He possesses and the Lord, he proposes and Lord disposes. In another sense, the living beings are part and parcel of the Lord. They are therefore one with the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, living beings in various varieties of bodies have been claimed by the Lord as his sons. The suffering and enjoyment of the sons are indirectly the suffering and enjoyments of the Father. Still, the Father is not in any way affected directly by the suffering and enjoyment of the sons. Now, you may say, Array, Lord should be Atmanam, he should be always happy. If Lord is Father and his sons, we are his sons, if we are unhappy, then Father definitely will become unhappy, right? So this is a very important. So now, like a child is crying, mother will feel unhappy. Now, the child is crying in a dream, and he's seeing some dream and is crying. He's like, "Mama, tiger, Mama, tiger," and mother feels sad for him, but then what she does, she wakes him up. She cannot go and save. So our suffering in this material world is lack of knowledge. So Lord, out of compassion, he tries to give this knowledge to wake us up. That's what is next shloka. So the purpose of Lord's appearance is to help us. And as such, Lord is not, his Leela is not going to affect. Krishna is not thinking, Array, in Kali Yuga came and no, here so many things are happening in earth. No, it is not affecting Lord's Leela. It is all done by his uh, Purushavatara features. They are trying to facilitate this and trying to help the living entity come out of from that ignorance. And so that he is awake and go back and assist the Lord. So he's so kind that he constantly reminds that the living being as Paramatma and always try to convert the living being towards the real happiness. So we are trying to enjoy mirage. So that's what Lord is coming, and he's trying to facilitate it. So this is the answer. Now 34th is the answer for the third question. Why Krishna is taking birth in the womb of Devaki as a nun. So bhava yatvesha satvena lokanam iva loka bhavanaha leelavatarana rato devatiryan naradishu. Thus the Lord of the universe maintains all planets inhabited by demigods, men and lower animals. Assuming the role of incarnations, he performs pastimes to reclaim those in the mode of pure goodness. So this is the purpose of Lord's appearance. This is his thought. There are innumerable material universes, and each and every universe there are innumerable planets inhabited by different grades of living entities in different modes of nature. Lord Vishnu incarnates himself in each and every one of them and each and every type of living society. He manifests his transcendental pastimes among them just to create the desire to go back to Godhead. The Lord does not change his original transcendental position, but he appears to be differently manifested according to the particular time, circumstance, and society. Sometimes he assumes himself or empowers a suitable living being to act for him, but in either case, the purpose is the same. The Lord wants the suffering living beings to go back home, back to God. The happiness which the living beings are hankering for is not to be found within any corner of innumerable universes and material planets. The eternal happiness which the living being wants is obtainable in the kingdom of God, but the forgetful living beings under the influence of material modes have no information of the kingdom of God. The Lord therefore comes to propagate the message of kingdom of God, either personally as an incarnations or through his bona fide representatives as a good son of God. Such incarnations or son of God are not making propaganda for going back to God or only within the human society. Their work is also going on in all other types of societies among demigods and those other than human beings. So this is so we have successfully completed second chapter. So anybody has any questions, comments before we wind up for the day? Yes, Chandrika Mataji? Yes.
Prabhuji, in essence, it means that we have to cultivate a desire to go
Go back
back
home.
and turn to Krishna. This is the only thing we have in our hand, and rest all will be arranged by Krishna only. Is it, Prabhuji, right?
Yes, Mataji, yes.
This is only we have desired wrong desire that we came to this world. Now what we can do is just desire that I want to come back to you, Krishna. I have done a mistake and I'm asking forgiveness. This is only that Prabhuji, we can do in our at our end.
Yeah, bhakti
Even in
is
japa also.
bhakti is consciously cultivation of accepting, cultivating gratitude of whatever is given by Krishna. I am okay with it. That is what is bhakti, is consciously cultivating gratitude. We have to be grateful in all situations. Whatever Krishna is giving me, whatever Krishna is sending me, I am saying yes to Krishna. There is no, if it is good or bad, for me it may be good or bad, but I know it is good for me because Krishna is sending it. And in that way, we have to do bhakti.
And Prabhuji, even if we understand this thing very nicely in our heart, but if our anarthas is disturbing us, like, and we even among devotees also while doing service, so is it like that just tolerate it and keep doing your service, reading Bhagavatam, everything, these anarthas will automatically go? Because sometimes while doing our service, even among devotees, we feel like envy, and sometimes anger due to some words. So like this, probably that time it's difficult what to do. Should we take any action, or like how to overcome this envy, or just keep on doing your things, your services or your reading Bhagavatam and chanting, everything will calm down. How
We
to
have
do
to,
it?
when we are doing Bhagavatam and we try to consciously put all our effort and do, slowly that will go. If we are just mindlessly, just unconsciously doing, it will not have effect. If we are consciously doing, slowly we will get an understanding that I don't need it. See, any envy or jealous or any some anarthas, we try to hold them, and slowly we understand actually I don't need them. People need anger, people need uh, they they want to keep this grief because it's an weapon for them. Anger is a instrument to fulfill my desire, that's why we don't want to give it up. like uh, uh, if my things are not done, then I will become angry so I can get it done. And no, Mataji, they cry, they know if I cry, my things will be done. And no, this fellow, he has to listen to me, say, okay, she is crying, okay, let it be. No, they use an instrument to fulfill the desire. So we want to keep our anartha sometimes because it will fulfill our some of our desires and it gives certain type of pleasure. That is the problem. We know, no, I don't need anger, but we don't want to give it up so easily because we know if I don't become angry, many things won't happen according to my will. That's what we feel. So some of the anarthas we keep, but slowly, when we sincerely hear and read and chant, we understand I don't need them. Then they will go. Because if we are not conscious about him, he will not go. What happens is when we hear and read, we become conscious about our anarthas. When we bring it to the conscious level, then only we can get rid of them, otherwise we cannot get rid. We have to bring this at a conscious level. Of course, it's a big topic. I know Gail Mataji will have some question. I'll discuss
Prabhuji,
on this topic
consciously,
later.
this is Prabhuji, and the other thing is day after tomorrow, Friday, there will be class or not? Because Nityan and Todashi and we will be in temple. So, Prabhuji,
Mostly will not have.
we will not have the right. Okay, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranams. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, for Mataji's question, that when people speak harshly or so, how we take it. So what I learned in my life is that I always say, Krishna, why am I undergoing this? You will never let anything bad happen to your devotee. That means you have a secret hidden agenda, which is very good for me. That is going to make me climb many steps higher. What is that? I beg him, and within few minutes or few hours, I get, it is not 24 hours, within 1 hour, half an hour, 20 minutes, I get my answer. And if I didn't get my answer for 2 hours, 4 hours, then I speak to my mentor. What is that I have to learn in this painful situation? And then when mentors will give me my answer, and then I become so ecstatic and I learn the lesson, and I don't take any offense. You know, if anybody does any harm, I just see that it is Krishna's benediction for me, and that is why I stay happy. And I think this might help Chandrarekha Mataji. That's why I just thought of adding to whatever point you said was very wonderful. This was extra what I experienced in my life. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Thank you very much. We'll end session with our chapter. So, what I will wishing that we'll have some homeworks in the third chapter. That means you have to read some purports because then we'll be able to spend more time on some important verses. Otherwise, we'll not be able to spend. So, it will be some half an hour for you to read some small purports are there. Others we will read in our discussions. So, thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.